Hey everyone, my name is Jordan Arel. It's Jordan Arel. It's a great way to start a video. I'm not stopping it. Shooting here from Berkeley, California, in Azkaban is the name of the house I'm in. Making a video today for you about effective altruism, the effective altruism movement, which I've been participating in for the past few months. So I thought I'd maybe start out today about just talking about what effective altruism is, why I'm participating in it, and why I'm making these videos. So effective altruism is essentially, precisely, you might even say, the project of doing the most good possible using reason and evidence. So you can break that down a little bit more to what it means and what it implies. Effective altruists, or EAs for short, EAs are people who participate in the effective altruism movement, are generally nerdy kind of geeks who you know, some of them are computer geeks, some of them are philosophy geeks, or just generally smart people, math geeks and such, who are a little autistic and tend to, that's not always true, but it's often true, who tend to think very carefully about perhaps things in general, but specifically about how to do the most good. So they try to analyze the situation, think about the world in a very critical way, and really look at, you know, what are the factors that are important, first of all, and how do we then optimize across those factors to create the most good. And again, I'm talking very abstract terms here because effective altruism is a very broad movement encompassing several other movements, actually. Often it's associated with utilitarianism because utilitarianism is the goal of maximizing happiness in the world. And so effective altruism is, of course, very closely related to that, since maximizing happiness is one pretty good conception of what the most good might be. But it's not necessarily utilitarian. There are other moral theories that, because we're being very rational and thinking about things very carefully, we need to, you know, admit that we're uncertain. We don't know for sure that utilitarianism, you know, maximizing happiness in the world, the greatest amount of happiness to the greatest number of beings, we don't know for sure that that's the right theory. It could be that we should be as virtuous as possible, and that's what good is, or that we should try to create as much justice as possible, and that would be the most good. Or that, what are the other ones? Virtue, justice, we should respect human rights, and if we respect human rights, then that's the best way to create the most good. Or we should try to eliminate suffering completely, negative utilitarianism, and that's what really matters. It doesn't really matter if we create happiness, just that we eliminate suffering, which obviously would mean just kill everyone, because that's probably the only way to actually eliminate suffering. But anyways, there's a lot of theories about how to do the most good, and we don't know for sure which are right. I'm pretty partial to create the most happiness possible. So then effective altruists try to analyze, how do we actually do this? And so the way to do this, of course, is, well, of course, as I said, looking at the world, and effective altruists tend to look at causes that are, there's a framework that's very pervasive called the ITN, or Important, Tractable, Neglected framework, where you look at what is the most important. That means sort of big in scale, or you know, impacts the most people, creates the most suffering, or has the potential to create the most happiness. That would be very important. Is it neglected? That is to say, are a bunch of other people already working on it, therefore it doesn't matter that much if more people are working on it, versus something that's really important and there aren't very many people working on it. So if, adding one more person, if there's 10 people working on it, is a 10% increase and could potentially make a huge difference, versus if there's already 1 million people working on it, adding one person probably won't increase it by as much. Important, neglected, and tractable means, also you could call this solvable, is an easier word. Effective altruists tend to like big words, I think, but tractable means, is this something that we can actually make progress on? If it's a problem that you can work on it a lot and not actually make any difference on, then it seems like you're probably not going to be able to be that effective on this problem. So it's important to think, is this something we can actually do something about? And if it's very solvable, then of course that makes it much more cost-effective to work on it. Cost-effectiveness is another big word effective altruists use a lot, or a CEA, which is cost-effectiveness analysis. Though if you say CEA, most effective altruists will think you mean Center for Effective Altruism, because that's like the main organization in effective altruism that kind of coordinates a lot of things. Anyways, so that's kind of that's one of the ways that effective altruism tends to look at things. And so there's this idea that, well, maybe animal welfare could be the best thing to work on, because there's a lot of animals that are suffering a lot, billions and billions of animals living horrible lives on factory farms, as well as actually wild animals who may be suffering even more than those animals, because they're out in the wild, kind of susceptible to disease and injury and everything. They have no defense, or they're not no defense exactly, but they have no organizing social structure to protect them from things. So animals harm each other or are harmed and don't have any way to save themselves from that. So that's one cause that effective altruists tend to look at. Another big one is global poverty. You can there's this thing they talk about a lot. You can save a kid from malaria for about $3,000 by buying whatever number of bed nets. Statistically, you're going to end up saving about one child for every $3,000 that you spend on anti-malarial bed nets to prevent malaria. So that's pretty crazy, right? Save a life for $3,000. Damn, like, if someone was like, if my kid was like potentially gonna die, and someone like over there was like, I don't know if your kid's worth that much. I don't know if I'd give you $3,000 to save your kid. That seems like a lot. I'm like, well, man, fuck, Jesus. I mean, it's my fucking child they're talking about. See, it's like crazy when you think about like someone like, oh, hey, my kid's gonna die. If you gave me $3,000, my kid wouldn't die. It's like, yeah, well, all right, I'll give you the money, man. I only have $3,000 to my name, but I will still give you the money, because damn, that's insane. But that's the situation we're actually in every day. And by the way, it's even more crazy with animals. With animals, you can save like dozens, I don't know, maybe hundreds of animals from severe lives of suffering for that same amount of money. But even just the human case is still pretty insane, right? It's not the same thing in the developed world, and in countries like the United States, where I am, there tends to be not that good of opportunities to do good. So developing world, global health, well-being is a really effective way to do a lot of good. A third thing that I will probably be talking about on this channel almost 100%, what I'm really interested in, and what kind of is the biggest cause in effective altruism over the past few years now, is called Long-Termism, which basically just means looking at the long-term future, the far future, and thinking, okay, how can we make this as good as possible? So why do we do this? Well, the long-term future is potentially really, really, really big. In Max Tegmark's book, he says there's something like 10 to the 52 human conscious lives equivalents that could exist into the future. I think Nick Bostrom gave 10 to the 69 is the figure. So it's a pretty wide margin of error. I'm sure there are other estimates, but the fact is, like, it's trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions, somewhere in that range, of human beings, essentially, that could quite possibly exist if we don't go extinct, first of all, and if we then expand to the stars and colonize the stars and live in space and convert most of the matter in the reachable universe within our light cone, that is, how far can we actually get away from Earth, moving somewhere close to the speed of light, or a fraction of the speed of light, then how far can we get before the universe expands so much as is doing? It'll expand so that we actually can't reach any other stars at some point, and then the stars will actually go out as well, so the universe won't last forever. But there will still be new stars being formed for trillions of years, and within our own galaxy there are about 100 billion stars, or in the average galaxy there's about 100 billion stars, so we could probably reach all those stars. That's a lot. But there are also, I believe, 20 trillion stars that we could reach within the observable universe. So again, pretty big numbers here. Hard to really fathom this. But yeah, so then the total number of stars we could reach would be something like 20 billion times 100 billion, which would be 2 sextillion. 2 sextillion. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this sexual, it just is. There's 2 sextillion stars that we can reach. And there could be 10 to the 69, humans. That's just, I'm just pulling the facts out of the books that I read. It's not like I'm not making this up. And so, yeah, so, I mean, that's a lot of people. 2 sextillion is 2 with 21 zeros after it. 10 to the 69 is is a 1 with 69 zeros after it. That's like a really big number of lives, and each star can be a lot of humans, or whatever we evolve into. So anyways, the point is, like, there's a lot of potential value in the future, but there's actually quite a high possibility, because of all the crazy technologies that we are inventing right now, genetic engineering, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, nuclear warheads, things that change the environment. There's a lot of ways that we could actually kill ourselves, potentially, nanotechnology in the near future. There's a lot of scenarios, and there may be very many more. And so the idea of long-termism is that how do we make this giant future go as well as possible? And probably the most important thing to make it go as well as possible is just not killing ourselves, not letting humanity go extinct. And I think the hope is, and the likelihood is that if we can keep ourselves going extinct for a few hundred more years, then maybe the wisdom that we develop, maybe the technologies that we develop, maybe certain things we develop will help us to kind of lock in a positive state and eliminate that existential risk, that risk of extinction, or maybe not eliminate it, but at least minimize it extremely small. So that going forward, we can focus on making the future good, rather than just making sure that we don't all die, which seems quite a strong possibility in the next few centuries. perhaps even this century. If artificial intelligence, for example, is developed, which or very strong advanced artificial intelligence, which it's crazy. There's some crazy stuff happening. So, anyways, where am I going with this? That's long-termism. The idea that, hey, we should make the future go as good as possible. How do we do that? Well, first of all, make sure everybody doesn't die. That seems like by far the most important thing. There's other things too that you can do to make the future much better. For example, if you increase economic growth by, say, 1%, that might not sound like that much, but if you then multiply that down the line, down years into the future, and how that could affect, us in trillions of years, then in trillions of years, 1% economic growth today could result in trillions of extra human lives, or trillions of extra human lives, for just like a 1% economic growth increase in 1 year. So there's very small things that we could do today that could make the far future go much better, and that's just a I don't know what the word for it is, but there are more systemic things you could do, like changing the way society is structured to make it much more efficient, that might even be much more powerful than slightly increasing economic growth rate. But again, if doing that increased the chance that we might go extinct, then it seems like, well, it's probably, again, more important to focus on not going extinct. So that's the main focus of long-termism right now, is not going extinct, though in general it refers to also just making the future as good as possible. So these are some of the things, really the main three things that effective altruism has focused on the most. Global health and well-being, animal welfare, and long-termism. So the reason I'm really interested in effective altruism is because of this whole long-termism thing, because I really agree with it. I think it's right. I think, it's like, even if you could only influence that future, even if there's only like a 0.0001% chance that you could affect the future positively, well, expected value is the multiplying the percent chance that you're going to have a certain effect times how good that effect would be. So if it was say a 1 in a billion chance that you're going to stop humanity from being extinct, but then you multiply that by 10 to the 61, or 10 to the 69, then you still have, then the expected value of that is still 10 to the 60. 10 to the 60th power, which is, 1 with 60 zeros after it. That's a trillion human lives worth of expected value, even if you only have 1 in 1 billion chance of having that effect of preventing existential risk. I think it's quite plausible that any given human being could have a 1 in a billion chance of doing that. Probably much more than that, but even if it was much lower, like 1 in a trillion or something, the expected value would still be extremely high. Right? Because a trillion, that's 24 zeros minus whatever, 69. So you'd still be at 45 zeros. So 10 with, even if it's a 1 in a trillion chance that you're going to be the tipping point that helps prevent human extinction from happening, still, in expectation, meaning the expected value calculation of multiplying that 1 in a trillion multiplied by the 10 to the 69 lives that you would save, that would still be a trillion something lives, almost another trillion, like a billion, trillion, something like that. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot of lives, a lot of human lives. And these are like real people too. It's like oh, it sounds very abstract and like hypothetical. It's like, well, we don't know for sure. Maybe we will never leave Earth. Maybe something, I don't know. Maybe something totally unforeseeable will happen, and a sun will just give a solar flare that just kills us all instantly, or we'll be hit by an asteroid or something that we can't defend against. I don't know, there's lots of things that could happen. Or maybe it's just impossible to protect against existential risk. There's just actually no way to align artificial intelligence. It's literally impossible, and it's going to kill us no matter what. That's possible. It's actually impossible to do this. But it seems like you can just add another trillion on and say like, oh, maybe there's only a 1 in a trillion% chance that, or 1 in a trillion%, not percent, 1 in a trillion chance that we could prevent existential risk at all. Still, then you just add another trillion to the number, and it's still a trillion lives or whatever. So the point is, like, when you do this calculation, no matter how you spin it, the numbers are so big, the number of lives you save is so big that even if there's a very small chance that you could actually do something about it, it's still worth doing something about it, because the ultimate reward is so big that the expected value is still extremely high. So that's long-termism, and yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, I think. There's a lot of other things to it. One thing that's important to think is that the future could be really good, right? Humanity is very close right now to eliminating global poverty, like completely. Like probably in the next few decades. There's a thing called not the Millennium, or is it the Millennium Development Goals? There's two of them, and one of them was the old one, and now I'm forgetting. Sustainable Development Goals are the new ones, and one of them is to eliminate extreme poverty, and we're supposed to be doing this by 2030 or something. That's crazy. Eliminate extreme poverty permanently, forever. Like, wow, that's pretty ambitious, but we're doing it. We're well on the way. And after that, maybe a few decades, we'll eliminate all poverty in the world. It doesn't seem infeasible at all. I mean, with automated work, humans basically don't have to do any work anymore to meet all of our needs in the near future, most likely. So there are great boons of these technologies too, right? If artificial intelligence can do everything for us, then humans don't have to work anymore, and we can devote our lives to just experiencing happiness, basically. Which sounds nice. I don't know if it'd actually be nice, but there's basically really good things that will happen with the many technologies. We can genetically engineer ourselves to be happier, to eliminate certain things we don't like, diseases and ugliness. I don't know. Sorry, sorry, ugly people. I feel like it sucks to be ugly. I don't actually know, because I'm beautiful, but I just assume if I was really ugly, I'd be bummed about it. I'd be like, damn, I just feel sad that I'm ugly every day. It makes me I have to tell myself I'm beautiful, and I look in the mirror and I'm like, Jordan, you're beautiful, but I know it's not true, and that would just suck. I feel like there's a or just jump higher or run faster. I don't know. I have a bunch of joint problems that suck so bad. I wish I could just genetically engineer those out of myself. And there's so many things though. There's you can make yourself smarter, or happier, more kind person, have less shitty emotions where you yell at people and do dumb stuff. And I don't know. There's so many ways you could improve your experience of life through genetic engineering. But there's there's so many other cool futuristic technologies that could do super cool things. So I'm really passionate about futurism. I have been for a long time. I actually only discovered Effective Altruism in January, so 6 months ago. It's July 21st of 2022 right now, and I discovered it in January at my school, USC, when I was after I dropped out of one program and then was going to join another program, a social entrepreneurship degree. But then I'm like, you know what, this group is so cool, and after being in it for a little while, I decided, sorry, I need something else to play with while I'm doing this. I decided I need something else. I need something else to do with my life, because I'm very... I have terrible social skills, frankly. I like talking to people one-on-one, but I don't know, I don't make friends really, and I don't hang out in groups. So I joined this group, Effective Altruism. I'm like, ooh, this sounds cool. I'd heard of it like 6 years ago, and I thought it was basically like, oh, like, earn as much money as you can and donate it to the Against Malaria Foundation. And that was my impression of the movement. And that's a lot of people's impression of the movement. It's not totally accurate, but it was a bigger focus back then. And it's kind of what a lot of media pieces jumped onto. So anyways, where was I going with that? I'd heard about Effective Altruism when I was actually writing a thesis about altruism, and how to have a better way of thinking about altruism so that it's more effective, basically, so that it actually changes the world, rather than just like, oh, altruism is like just like being nice to people and like sacrificing yourself and like whatever. It's like, no, altruism is actually about like making the world the best place it can possibly be. And I wrote my thesis about this. I was kind of coming from a social entrepreneurship lens, and that's what I was again going to do my master's program in. But then I learned about this movement, and it's like, wow, this is exactly what I'm interested in. I actually wrote a book about long-termism, basically, futurism, and how to make the long-term future good a year ago, like a first draft of this book. And so I was kind of bumbling around, what do I do? And then discovered this movement. I joined the group. I did a couple fellowships where you meet every week and talk about effective altruism readings. I read for like a dozen books on it since then, on different aspects of it. A lot of it's about rationalism and like how to think better, how to not have cognitive biases, and how to make better predictions, and how to some books are about AI. Some are just about effective altruism as a movement. There was a lot of posts on the Effective Altruism forum, which is awesome. Would highly recommend it. It's so well set up. One thing I love about the Effective Altruism movement, it's one of the best organized movements of all time. I mean, I don't know, it's not that surprising when a bunch of like nerds from like Ivy League schools like get together and like create a movement. It's not that surprising that it's well organized. Yeah. So, where was I going with this? Definitely somewhere. I promise you. Effective altruism, blah, 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 blah. Good stuff. Effective altruism. I'm an effective altruist. I'm not really. I might be. I don't like to use labels. I don't know. I feel like I fit the definition. Probably. Oh man, I'm tired. Been restricting my sleep so that I don't, what's the word? So that I can sleep on time. Because otherwise I just like stay up till like 3 a.m. and then sleep in till like 3 p.m. or whatever. It doesn't work well. There was something else I wanted to say for sure about this. So then finally I'm like, okay, well, how can I actually get more involved in this movement? And it's like, okay, well, a lot of the people live in Berkeley. There's not that many EAs in LA, despite their almost similar names. There just aren't that many. And so I moved here to Berkeley and am now... I originally started doing housing stuff here, coordinating housing for people here, and then, I'm sorry, I am a little out of it today. Coordinating housing for people, And then, now that I finished that, I'm living in this group house called Azkaban. Probably going to get kicked out because I'm not high value enough. My EV, its expected value, is not high enough. People just don't know me well enough yet, I guess. And so, this is a really high bar in EA. I like that too, but it's also kind of sucks. Like, it's like you have to be really fucking good to get positions in effective altruism organizations or that kind of thing. Like, they're very selective, and I don't want to say elitist because I feel like it's a very pejorative term. Generally, I'm elitist. I like elitism. I'm very elitist. I'm an elite, and I'm happy about it. Sorry, everyone. I don't know what else to say about that. I love, like, this populism kind of stuff. Like, oh, we need to, like, appeal to the masses and, like, do stuff that's good for everyone and help people. All people. And so, I'm not, like, I say that partly in jest. I appreciate elitism, but I also appreciate populism. Yeah, I think it's good to, focus on, like, if you're building a good organization or a good movement, you want to bring people on who are going to be really helpful and contribute a lot. And if you bring just, like, whoever wants to join, like, we'll take anyone. Bring your methods, bring your broken and psychotic people and whatever. Your movement's probably not going to be that effective. So it is important to try to get, like, people who are going to do a lot of good and do the movement to do good. But at the same time, I do think there's something to say for, I want to influence as many people as possible and really help as many people as possible. And oftentimes the people who you can actually help the most are those who are hurting the most and are in the lowest places in society. And so I think there's as much to say for the bottom of the barrel as the top of the barrel. And yeah, there are reasons that you would want both for different reasons and in different ways. But EA tends to be a little bit more on the selective side, let's just say. Which again has its perks. I guess I'm not good enough for the movement, but I will still be around, just probably not in this house. Anyways, yeah, so I want to make these videos for reasons. Let me get into those quick. I think effective altruism is awesome. I think it's cool. I think people are doing good shit. I don't know if they're doing the exact right things. I'm skeptical of this AI thing. When I wrote my book, I actually didn't make AI like a central focus, or at least the threat of AI. I focus more on, like, broad sort of systemic solutions that would broadly, like, kind of hopefully create a state of positive lock-in that would prevent all existential risks. But people in the EA movement tend to focus more on, like, specific existential risks and how to prevent them. And this would be called targeted long-termism, where you focus on something very specific so that you can solve that, or so that you can prevent that specific thing and have a very focused, intense like, if you want to prevent risk from AI, then you should probably focus on AI. It kind of makes sense, right? Or if you want to prevent nuclear war, then you need to think about that pretty narrowly to actually prevent it, is how this line of reasoning goes. I think there are risks that could exist that we don't know about and that we still need to figure out a way to prevent. And I also think that terrorism, people who are just trying to destroy the world, could be a big problem when they have the means to do so with advanced technologies. So, for example, if in 1,000 years anyone can basically build a nuclear arsenal of nuclear weapons, I don't think that's totally out of the question. In 1,000 years or something, couldn't that be a bad thing? Well, maybe we could defend against it better, but maybe not. Maybe it's easier to attack than defend. Maybe there's this sort of asymmetry between certain, maybe not nuclear warheads, but maybe something else, or maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard questions. So, where am I going with all this? So, someone just fell down the stairs. There's a lot of people here right now. There's like a party going on. I hate parties. Maybe that's also why I'm not invited to stay in this house. I'm just too antisocial. Unsocial. Antisocial is different than unsocial. So, I want to create these videos because I want people to know about effective altruism. I think it's important. I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. I think it's a good thing. Second, and the more people who know about it, the more people who can have an impact by being effective altruists and kind of taking on this modality. The second reason I'm doing this is because I want to build up my skill set. I want to keep becoming good at making videos and communicating and doing that kind of thing. I think that's inherently valuable. Also thinking about effective altruism ideas, which this kind of forces me to do. Yeah, so sort of educating myself, upskilling myself. Another thing is to build reputation, frankly. I want people to know that I am doing stuff and thinking about stuff and making good things happen. And so, if I make videos, I feel like that's going to make people aware that I exist in the effective altruism movement. And yeah, if the videos are really good, people will be like, oh, you're the guy who makes those cool videos. So like, I don't know, there's a reputation value there. I can bring people on and do podcasts. I can do other cool things. Just make good content that, yeah, again, helps people learn about the movement. Another big thing is helping people in the movement understand how to have a bigger impact, or giving more ideas of how to think about effective altruism in different ways, spreading important ideas that I think are really important that more effective altruists should know. So kind of like boosting the movement itself by having videos that are helpful to the movement in many ways. It could be training videos, it could be just like, like, let's challenge this idea that we think might be right, but it might also be wrong, and here's why. Kind of red teaming ideas. Could be developing ideas and like, oh, how do we make this project better? How do we move this project forward? There's so many different things you could do with it. Like, oh, here's something that we should do more as a community to make the whole community function better, or to make effective altruism more effective, or effective altruists more effective. So that's another big category of things. What else? It's fun. I want to have fun. I hope... Jesus. The other thing is, like, I don't know if I want to live in a group house. Like, it's great sometimes. Sometimes I just, like, hate people, and, like, I want to, like, wear earplugs, and I don't know. I wear earplugs, and I still can hear people, and it's like, it's just like, I just want silence sometimes, and I don't have control over that all the time. So I don't mind that much living in a studio or whatever. We'll see what happens here. But where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? Don't know. I see you. Have fun. So enjoy myself. Like, if I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to do it. I feel like that's something effective altruists miss sometimes, is that, like, having fun is really important. I don't know, people have a lot of parties and do fun stuff, but, like, something about the work itself can feel kind of dry sometimes. Just like, utilitarianism itself, maybe. There's just this aesthetic or fun, I guess those are two different things, but aesthetic gap and fun gap. Like, how can we make this more fun? How can we make this, like, more aesthetically, like, appealing? So, yeah, I think those are also things I want to do for the movement, too, is, like, how can we make the movement more fun? How can we make the movement more aesthetically appealing? Fun, aesthetics, what else? I feel like I'm giving too many goals. There's just too many goals for this thing. It's very unfocused. That's the thing, though. I'll home in on it. It's not hone in. There's no N in home in. Hone is a different word. And someone was like, I was reading this AI paper. It's like about advanced artificial intelligence, and he kept on saying hone in. That's not the right phrase. It's home in. like you're going home to the thing that you're looking for. I don't know. It was like super off-putting. Because other than that, it was good. It's very high-level intellectual stuff. Just like needed some editing, I guess. So that's that. That's where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. My working memory does not work when I'm tired. Like, I can't remember what I was saying before, and I also just can't remember stuff in general. It's not good. Yeah, hopefully I will get my sleep schedule fixed soon. We'll see. I feel like I was not quite done yet with this video. There's something else I want to say for sure. I like saying things. I like talking. It's fun. I like making videos. I hope this is like my intro. It's like, this isn't going to be helpful to anyone, I don't think. It's just like me talking about me and effective altruism, kind of introduction, very basic introduction, context. Yeah, so not trying to change the world with this video necessarily, more so just like get warmed up a little bit, which is what I've been doing in the movement in general. I've been doing some community building stuff, like hosting a few EA virtual groups. That's an online program where you can, by the way, join my EA virtual groups if you want to join me on EA Virtual. I'm going to be hosting probably some intro ones and some the Precipice reading groups ones, which is a book on existential risk. And and so where was I going with this? So I'm doing those groups. I just did 3 EA virtual in-depth groups. Now I'm doing 3 more. I'm going to be doing some groups at EA Berkeley. I did the fellowships, as I said. Sorry, EA UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. That's what people think when they hear Berkeley. Berkeley's actually a town. It's like the size of like Fargo or Boulder, or I don't know. It's like a small town outside of San Francisco, but it's really nice. It's like, it's as nice as it is expensive. It's fucking beautiful. If you're willing to pay like twice as much as Los Angeles, or like at least 3 times as much as like any normal place. By normal I mean Midwest, which is my normal. Where was I going with this? I think I was living a third of this almost in Lafayette, Colorado, which is like not even that remote. Anyways, I use Fargo and Boulder as references because those are also places I've lived. Focus, Neo. Sorry, that's from a video game. The Matrix games were great. I liked the last movie because it referenced them, but more so because it was like referenced Psychosis, which was interesting. Super interesting. I liked it. It wasn't that good of a movie, but I really liked it anyways. Where was I going with this? I don't know. I can't remember anything that I'm saying. I'm just babbling here. Hopefully when I restore some sleep I'll make more sense. Fuck. Videos. I'm making videos. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about effective altruism. I lost it. I don't remember what I was saying. I like to read books. I don't know. I'm looking at books right now that made me think of that. Doing effective altruism stuff. Lots of stuff. I don't know. I lost it. Lost my train of thought completely. Yeah. Alright, I feel like this video is wrapping up now. I'm too tired to make videos. But this was fun. I feel like I made some good points about who I am, what I'm doing, what I want to do. Oh, I'm doing community building stuff. I mentioned that. Yeah, I did this whole housing thing. I was kind of doing all the accounting and financing and Airtable, Google Sheets stuff. Organizing, yeah, all the things. We housed like over 50 people. Actually, I think it was closer to like 60, 70, 80, somewhere in that range. It was cool. I worked non-stop. I'm not going to say that EA promotes burnout culture, but I've heard some people talk about needing to not burn out and how like this can happen. I did work like a month and a half straight, basically not really showering. I showered once every 5 days. I stopped exercising, stopped meditating, which I used to do like 3 hours a day. I just stopped doing everything, self-care. I had like a bunch of things piling up on my to-do list, just like dozens of things. Yeah, not good. Not good. But got a lot done. Got good stuff done. Did community building stuff. Still doing community building stuff. Now doing communication stuff, which is videos. I'm also writing. Gonna write some forum posts. Gonna write some my book. Gonna finish that. I'm studying AI right now because I was skeptical of it before, and now I'm like, God dang, the EA movement is so focused on AI. It's like, this is probably the thing that would kill the world if something does. And I'm like, you know what, that sounds pretty feasible. That actually sounds quite possible. I'm not 100% sure about it, but like, yeah, could be. So now I'm like studying that more to see if I actually really agree with that. Because it could be the case. And I feel like I need to get a better mental first principles understanding of AI so I can understand how concerned I should be about it, and if so, how I should support people or work on it directly, or what I should do about it. So, where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, I want to do more research, more community building. I'm starting a business, a small car sharing business, to support myself, get rich, so I can focus all my time on impact. I'm pretty fucking broke right now. What else? Yeah. Dating a little bit. Met this cute German girl who's from Germany. She's in Germany. She's coming here. Actually, she's probably boarding a plane. Like, she's probably like 1 hour into her flight on the way here. So that's gonna be fun. Gonna meet her. Maybe I'll make a video. I hope I can. That would be fun. Make a video. We can make a video together or something. I don't know. I don't really have the setup for that though. I have to get better microphone. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I could figure it out, but it would be a hassle. We'll see what happens. So that'll be fun. I don't know. EAGSF, Effective Altruism Global conferences are cool conferences, and this one's the San Francisco version. It's happening in like 5 days or something. 6 days, I think. Is that 8 days? Next Friday. Yeah, 8 days. Huh. So, we'll be doing that. That's about it. I don't know. Oh, I'm reading a lot. I'm doing a lot of research. This video sucks. I hope that's not controversial. It's like just so haphazard, just kind of like blah, 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 you know, not very focused. I'm not really saying anything that's probably of value to anyone except me. It's more just like, yeah, as I said, it's warm up. I will post it, because if I don't post it, then I get in the habit of not posting videos, and that's not good. It doesn't, get me in the right mind state. So, finishing this video, what am I saying? I don't know, man. My brain's like, bleh. Video. I'm making a video. I'm making a video. The meta, the better. That's what they say in Britain, if they're effective altruists. Because meta is better than not meta. The more meta, the better. But it sounds much better in British accent. The meta, the better. Alright, almost done here. Almost done. Video, I made a video. It's good. I apologize, it sucked. What was I saying about that? I want to make better videos in the future. Oh, I'm reading. I'm also reading a lot right now. That's That's one of my other main goals. Is like just like read a shit ton. Like I want to read a book a day. I probably read already close to. I probably read about half a book a day, right now, something like that. Audiobooks mostly, because they're easy to read. But very soon, like now, probably after I finish this, I'm gonna go read other books and try to read at least 2 hours every day. I feel like that's not very much. 2 hours a day plus audiobooks, which is like all the other time that I'm not actively doing something, so it's still a good, 4 hours a day of reading. Anyways, hopefully, I think if I read a book a day for 5 years or 10 years or something, I'll probably be able to make pretty good videos. Like, it's just, I don't have the level of knowledge, right? It's like, I've read, I think, I forget what it is, it's on my Goodreads, I think I've read 400 books or something like that, which isn't bad. The average person reads one book per year, I think, I think I'm getting that right, yeah. The average person reads one book per year. Is that right? The average CEO reads one book per week. And the average academic, PhD person reads the equivalent of they read research papers or whatever, but probably 2 or 3 books a week. So I want to read one book a day. And I think if I did that for 5 years, yeah, but where else is it going before that? Yeah, so if I've read 400 books, okay, well, I read more than a book a year. In fact, I probably read more than a book a week, maybe even 50 times. I'm 29 years old, so that'd be 150 books if I read from the day I was born. So yeah, I've read 3 times more books than a CEO would read in 30 years. That seems crazy. Actually, I guess I have read a lot of books. I do read a lot of books. 50, no, is that right? I did that wrong, didn't I? No, yeah, 50 times 30 would be 1,500. So I've read the amount of books a CEO would read in 10 years. Still, that's not too bad. I don't know. It's fine. It's not that good. Whatever. That's why I need to up my game. I need to read a book every fucking day. So I'm getting there. I'm moving in the right direction. Then my videos will suck less. But I want to do that for it'd be cool to read 3 books a day or something for 10 years and just know everything about everything. I feel like if I did that for the next 10 years, that might be the most productive thing I could do. Just read books continually for 10 years straight. That's why I want to make money, right? I might even do that. If I just had $300,000 in the bank, I'd strongly consider just retiring for 10 years and just reading books continually until I know everything there is to know, and then okay, now what do I want to do? Because I can do pretty much anything. I'm invincible. I have the equivalent of a PhD in every subject that exists. That'd be cool. Just know everything. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. I am weird. I'm definitely weird. Scratch what I just said. I am weird. I don't know if I'm weird in wanting to know a lot of things, but I probably want it more than most people. Books are my favorite. I have a fetish for books. I won't say any more because I don't want to scare anybody away. Subscribe to my channel. I'll probably make more videos. Peace, love, goodness to everyone. And yeah, I don't know. This video sucked. I'm sorry it did. I'm not gonna waste any more of your time. But I will talk to y'all later.